Jonah Hacks has some work to do as that 108.261 is only good enough for 7th.
There's still more time to be had, but I dunno if they are going to find it before the session is over.
Yeager Strensky is not as quick as they were hoping for. Ada, any thoughts on what they need to do?
Good question, Hal. It's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Costo looks to be off the pace. Ada, what do you think they need to do to improve?
Well, Hal, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Costo will be happy having put themselves into 5th in this qualifying session. Vienne Spillebout is not as quick as they were hoping for. Ada, any thoughts on what they need to do? Vienne Spillebout has some work to do as that 108.711 is only good enough for 11th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Talk looks to be off the pace. Ada, what do you think they need to do to improve?
Every driver needs something different, Hal. Some drivers excel when they push harder, while other drivers benefit more from relaxing and being in a flow state.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. Crow is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. XOT is not as quick as they were hoping for. Ada, any thoughts on what they need to do?
Good question, Hal. It's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Crow looks to be off the pace. Ada, what do you think they need to do to improve?
They'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Felix is not as quick as they were hoping for. Ada, any thoughts on what they need to do? It looks like XOT is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. Achi looks to be off the pace. Achi has some work to do as that 108.338 is only good enough for 8th.
There's still more time to be had, but I dunno if they are going to find it before the session is over.
What a performance from Yiger Strensky. They currently occupy second on the grid. It's a good spot for now, but other drivers are trying their hardest to put in a better time and push them down the order.
You're absolutely right, Hal. Yiger Strensky's current position of second reflects their strong qualifying performance.
Yiger Strensky will be happy having put themselves into first in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
A solid qualifying performance by Crow, positioning them in 10th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
You're spot on, Hal. Crow's current position of 10th is a testament to their skills and determination. Now, they face the challenge of maintaining their position against hungry rivals.
Crow has some work to do as that 111.719 is only good enough for 10th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
A solid performance from Patrick Goldbach as they currently hold position 4. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid.
Spot on analysis, Hal. Patrick Goldbach has positioned themselves well in 4th. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
Impressive work from Crow, who has claimed 10th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. Patrick Goldbach has put in a great effort and currently holds 4th. With the session winding down, time is running out for them to unleash their full potential and improve their starting position. You've joined us on a breezy day here at Mas du Clos Short, as we're getting ready to kick things off. Good Smile Racing will be feeling confident starting from pole position. Team 01 will be looking to convert this front row start into a win. We're seeing Strensky in the third spot. Crow is holding down the fort in fourth place. On the fifth grid slot we have Adam Keefe. Felix 789 has qualified sixth. From the middle of the pack, we have Costo in seventh place on the starting grid. Kulik will be looking to gain ground quickly as they start from eighth on the grid.
They'll be looking.
The flag drops, and the race is underway. Drivers now face the challenge of avoiding first lap calamities.
The opening lap is often a hotbed of potential problems. The ability to steer clear of any mishaps will set the stage for a successful race.
Every lap is an opportunity for Team 01 to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off their times. The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one.
What a beautiful day for racing here at Mas du Clos Short. This is going to be good to watch.
Having started in 3, Strensky will be looking to establish themselves in this race.
I for one am really excited how the rivalry between Strensky and Felix 789 has been building before the race, and this is where scores are settled.
There's not much to report on from Felix at the moment. They're just keeping their head down and putting in consistent laps. Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe it can help them navigate the track. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Vianney Spielbout gaining places and Crow losing them. It's a close race between Crow and Vianney Spillebout in 14th.
If Crow pushes too hard, they might find themselves exploring the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during a race.
Every move counts now as Felix 789 works to reel in Strensky and overtake for P3.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
The pressure is on for Achi as they try to catch up to Talk. It seems like Achi is on fire. They have just put in their best lap.
Things are hotting up now, Hal, and it'll be interesting to see if they can improve further on that time.
Things are heating up as Sketty tries to close the gap to Achi. The drivers are getting faster as they settle into their cars and get used to the conditions, with Sketty just putting in their best lap so far with a 1 minute. We've certainly seen some of the drivers get it wrong today.
Anyone lost can just follow the trail of skid marks. I hear it's the latest form of GPS navigation.
Let's hope the other drivers don't follow suit. We might end up with a bumper car race instead of a high-speed competition.
At least we...
Braking development. Looks like that's a mistake from Felix 789. This could be costly. It's an intense battle for position as Sketty tries to outmaneuver Achi. This is edge-of-your-seat racing. Fantastic move from Sketty, who has just gained a position.
That's what we like to see. Sketty is really showing their class today.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Achi needs to stay patient and wait for Sketty to make a mistake.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Crow trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Vienna Spielbout. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. The battle for 3 is heating up as Felix tries to catch Yiger Strensky in P3. The race is really heating up. Achi is hunting down Sketty with everything they've got.
It's a game of strategy now as Achi hunts down Sketty. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Felix is running 4th. They are trying to catch Yiger Strensky.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Felix is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Yiger Strensky. It
seems like Felix has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Yiger Strensky's lap time there. In your experience, Ada, what was the most important aspect of managing tire degradation during a race?
The most important aspect, Hal, was maintaining a good balance between pushing hard and conserving tires. Finding the sweet spot between aggression and tire preservation was key to optimizing race pace and strategy.
The race is heating up as Goodsmile in 2nd closes in on Team 01. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. No room for error here. Felix 789 is breathing down the neck of Yiger Strensky, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them valuable time, and the position.
Talk is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Patrick Goldbach, who is currently in P11. But Jonah Hacks is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Patrick Goldbach.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Jonah Hacks is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Patrick Goldbach in P11 doing everything they can to catch up.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Talk trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Antonio Tridi. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Talk in 13th determined to catch up. But we know Antonio Tridi isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Talk is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
This is where the race gets really interesting. XOT is closing in on Achi. Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement this driver's legendary status. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Adam Keefe will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. XOT is on a mission, chasing Achi, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
Should things go south between Jonah Hacks and Patrick Goldbach, we might witness a high-speed game of bumper cars, but trust me, it's way less fun with real race cars.
Looks like Adam Keefe is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
This is a thrilling battle as Hacks edges closer to Patrick Goldbach in their fight for P10.
With just 0.4 seconds between them, Hacks will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Adam Keefe is breathing down the neck of Felix, not giving them any room to relax.
If things go wrong between Adam Keefe and Felix, they could be exchanging more than just paint, like maybe a strongly worded post-race chat.
Adam Keefe could be on a charge here. Ada, they have just put in a quicker lap than Felix. Look at the way the drivers are hugging those corners, it's like they're on rails.
Speaking of rails, did you know that the first racetrack was built on a railway in 1896? I bet those drivers were chugging along.
All joking aside, I bet they were. Things have come a long way since then, haven't they?
Definitely. It's amazing to think about the technology that goes into these cars now. I mean, they have more computing power than some countries.
It looks like Antonio Tridi is pushing hard to catch up to Talk. That's not a small gap, but Antonio Tridi has what it takes. Braking development. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line.
Whoops, Adam Keefe is going to be kicking themselves.
It's a thrilling pursuit as XOT is right behind Achi, keeping the pressure on for 8th place. Great driving from XOT, who has just gained a place and moved up to 7th.
Amazing stuff, focus and precision, what it's all about.
Oh, this is getting intense. Achi is just behind XOT.
When I was racing, we had a saying, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Achi is definitely living on the edge today.
Patrick Goldbach seems to be putting the pressure on Achi.
If you don't push the boundaries, you will never know where they are.
What a move. Patrick Goldbach has moved up to 8th. The intensity is off the charts as Achi hounds Patrick Goldbach, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit.
With the way Achi is stalking Patrick Goldbach, you'd think they're trying to figure out what they had for breakfast this morning.
Superb driving from Achi, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. This is going to be a nail-biter. Patrick Goldbach is defending for their life, but Adam Keefe is right there doing everything they can to force a mistake. Every move counts now as Adam Keefe works to reel in Patrick Goldbach and overtake for P9. Oh, the pressure is intense. These three drivers are displaying incredible skill and determination. It's like a high-speed chess match out there. Talk about pressure. Patrick Goldbach is caught in the middle, feeling the heat from both Adam Keefe and Achi. Look at that, Adam Keefe is hot on the tail of Patrick Goldbach.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Adam Keefe needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Hacks in 11th chases after Achi. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Jonah Hacks needs to find a way to close the gap. Oh dear, Jonah has had an incident.
Mas du Clos short is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes.
It's a game of inches now as Adam Keefe tails Patrick Goldbach closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
It's going to be a close one. Adam Keefe will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
The best laid plans of mice and men Haida, but it's certainly not going to plan for Adam Keefe right now as they are struggling to keep up with Patrick Goldbach.
Adam Keefe needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way. If they can close the gap down, they may be able to bring the fight to Patrick Goldbach.
Let's talk about tire degradation. Ada, how does it affect the car's handling and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling. How? As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
The chase between Adam Keefe and Patrick Goldbach is like a high-speed game of tag only. The stakes are much higher.
Adam Keefe has just put in a faster lap than Patrick Goldbach, so that's going to give them something to worry about.
The question is now, can Patrick Goldbach respond to that in kind? They are going to have to pick up the pace.
We are used to seeing some hard-fought but clean racing here at ASRL. I'm expecting to see nothing different here today as this race unfolds. Things are heating up as Adam Keefe closes in on Patrick Goldbach. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
If Adam Keefe gets any closer to Patrick Goldbach, they'll need to start sending out wedding invitations.
Adam Keefe is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.38 seconds down. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Vianney Spielbout as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Vianney Spielbout is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Adam Keefe trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Patrick Goldbach. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. Adam Keefe is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Patrick Goldbach to 0.4 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
The gap between Jonah Hacks and Vianney Spielbout is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Jonah to even allow Vianney Spielbout to get a look in.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops though, and it's important they don't lose concentration at this point.
It's a battle of wills out there, each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. The tension is building as Vianney Spielbout trails behind Jonah Hacks. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Jonah Hacks is pushing to maintain the lead, while Vianney Spielbout is working to close in and challenge for the position.
That's right. Vianney Spielbout in 14th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Jonah Hacks is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
Adam Keefe wants to get into Patrick Goldbach's slipstream.
They need to keep it on the road, or at the very least the rumble strips. The fastest way around is not usually in the grass. As the saying goes, too much weed will slow you down.
The pressure is on for Vianney Spielbout as they try to catch up to Hacks.
The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds.
It seems like Vianney Spielbout is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Adam Keefe, who is currently in P9. But Patrick Goldbach is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Adam Keefe. This is what it's all about, folks. Vianney Spielbout is in hot pursuit of Jonah, who's just trying to stay ahead.
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
The race is heating up as Adam Keefe in 9th closes in on Patrick Goldbach. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's game on now. Adam Keefe has closed the gap to Patrick Goldbach. It's now down to 0.3 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
Things are heating up as Yiger Strensky tries to close the gap to Felix 789. In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Yiger Strensky will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. The action is non-stop as Adam Keefe shadows Patrick Goldbach through every twist and turn, determined to claim 8th.
If Adam Keefe gets any closer, they might as well ask Patrick Goldbach for a piggyback ride.
Adam Keefe is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.62 seconds down.
Adam Keefe needs to refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of.
The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics, but we all know that's impossible. Or is it? I mean, we're a couple of computerized robots commenting on a race. Anything can happen.
Bad jokes notwithstanding, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. We got a close battle as Adam Keefe closes in on Patrick Goldbach. The pursuit is on. Yiger Strensky is closing the gap on Felix, determined to claim P3. Adam Keefe is giving it their all as they chase down Patrick Goldbach in P8.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Adam Keefe should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to Patrick Goldbach.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed.
The racing is getting tight between Yiger Strensky and Felix as they battle for P3. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
The adrenaline is pumping as Adam Keefe gets within striking distance of Patrick Goldbach in their race for 8th.
I remember being in a similar situation during my racing days. Adam Keefe must stay focused and wait for the perfect opportunity to overtake.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Costo is chasing Vianney Spielbaut in P14.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Costo is really walking that fine line.
Oh, this is getting intense. Yiger Strensky is just a few car lengths behind Felix. Hold on to your braking update. It looks like Adam Keefe has been called into the pits. It's a close race between Vianney Spielbaut and Costo in 14th. It's not going to plan for Vianney Spielbaut. They are still behind Costo and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
This is a frustrating situation for Vianney Spielbaut, but they can't give up just yet. They need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Costo.
Yiger Strensky is on a mission, chasing Felix 789 who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Yiger Strensky needs to be careful not to overdo it.
The race is really heating up. Adam Keefe is hunting down Patrick Goldbach with everything they've got. This is a thrilling battle as Yiger Strensky edges closer to Felix in their fight for P3.
Strensky is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
It looks like Patrick Goldbach is in control. They're ahead of Adam Keefe by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon. Every move counts now as Adam Keefe works to reel in Patrick Goldbach and overtake for P8. This one's going to be tough. Patrick Goldbach is getting their elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for Adam Keefe to make a move.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Adam Keefe to make up that gap, especially with Patrick Goldbach defending so well.
Adam Keefe is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. The mental game is just as important here. Adam Keefe must keep their cool while putting pressure on Patrick Goldbach.
It looks like Talk is pushing hard to catch up to Achi. That's not a small gap, but Talk has what it takes to challenge for the position. Team 01 is on fire in the last sector. It's all over. Team 01 has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now.
What a result for Team 01. They'll be absolutely thrilled with that performance, and rightly so. They really put in the work and it's paid off in spades.
Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Good Smile certainly doesn't see it that way. They put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of their impressive result.
Strong work securing second place. Well done.
That was an outstanding performance from Felix. They fought hard and took the final spot on the podium. Followed by Strensky, Kulik, SGETI, and XOT in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Patrick Goldbach, Adam Keefe, Achi, and Talk in 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Antonio Tridi, Jonah Hacks, Costo, and Vianney Spilbout end in 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's a beautifully calm day here at Mas du Clos short, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm excited for this one, Hal.
Vienne Spillebout is starting this race on pole. Starting on the front row gives Costo the best possible chance at challenging for the lead.
This is a great place to be, but there's always the threat of drivers right behind getting a better start and a slipstream into the first turn.
Sitting in third, it's Jonah Hacks.
They are in a good place to mount a good challenge come the first corner.
Starting from the fourth position on the grid, we have Antonio Tridi. Talk will look to make a splash from the fifth position on the starting grid. And just like that, the race has started. Now, we'll see who has the skill and nerve to outmaneuver their rivals.
This is where the real racecraft comes into play. The drivers will be looking for any opportunity to make a move and gain an advantage.
It's all about finding those gaps and making the most of them, especially in these early stages of the race.
And with so many talented drivers on the grid, you know we're going to see some incredible overtakes here in the first sector.
It's not just about making a move, it's about doing it cleanly and without causing any incidents. This is going to be one hell of a race, I can already feel it. I don't know what they had for breakfast, but it seems like Sketty found the secret sauce for a fantastic start. Seems like Talk is moving in slow motion compared to the rest of the field, already losing precious places. It looks like we might get a battle between Felix 789 and Team 01. Well, it looks like we have a bit of a traffic jam on the track.
It's like rush hour out there. I mean, I know we're in a race, but can't we all just get along?
You can wish all you want, but I don't think that's how racing works, Ada. These drivers are here to win, and they'll do whatever it takes to get ahead.
I guess you're right, but wouldn't it be great if they all just stopped for high fives and fist bumps?
This is a thrilling moment in the race, with Jonah Hacks in second defending their position with everything they've got. But Vienne Spillebout is relentless, and the gap is less than 0.2 seconds. It's anyone's position at this point. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Patrick Goldbach trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Vienne Spillebout. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts.
Absolutely. Patrick Goldbach in fourth will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Yiger Strensky and sixth and Achi. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.3 seconds.
Achi is certainly pushing all they can, but the gap might just be too much. Unless Yiger Strensky makes a mistake, it looks like they'll hold on to sixth.
Team 01 is holding ninth, but Felix 789 is right on their tail.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
Wow, Felix 789 is really pushing hard to catch up to Team 01. There's blood in the water for ninth place. The pressure is on for Vienne Spillebout as they try to catch up to Patrick Goldbach. It's an intense battle for position as Yiger Strensky tries to outmaneuver Sketty. This is edge of your seat racing.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's the fastest way around Mas du Clos short.
Hacks is not going to be happy about that.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Patrick Goldbach in third chases after Jonah Hacks. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Patrick Goldbach needs to find a way to close the gap. The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
If Strensky isn't careful, they might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine, and trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
A brilliant maneuver from Strensky, who has just moved up the field. And Sketty is having to make that Peugeot 504 as wide as possible to try and keep Acci behind them.
Absolutely. Sketty in 6th is doing a fantastic job of holding on to their lead, but they can't afford to make a single mistake. And Acci is looking for any opportunity to make a move. This could be a battle to the finish line.
Looks like Acci is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
The action is heating up here as Team 01 is in 8th, defending from Felix 789, who is only 0.3 seconds away.
Team 01 is doing a great job of defending in the lead, and Felix is pushing hard to close the gap. It's an exciting race and it's not over yet.
The battle for 8 is heating up as Felix tries to catch Team 01 in P8.
We'll have to wait to see if Felix can use the draft to their advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder their progress.
Talk is giving it their all as they chase down Felix in P9.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Talk close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The pursuit is on. Patrick Goldbach is closing the gap on Hacks, determined to claim P2. Even though Adam Keefe is a fair way behind Talk, they can't afford to let their guard down. Talk is still vulnerable to mistakes.
You're spot on, and Adam Keefe knows that they can't.
Breaking news, folks. Looks like that's a mistake from Talk. This could be costly. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Patrick Goldbach is chasing Hacks in P2. Look at that, Team 01 is hot on the tail of Sketty. It looks like Team 01 is making a move. The gap to Sketty is now down to 0.2 seconds.
Exactly what Team 01 needed. They can't afford to lose any more ground to Sketty.
A great moment for Team 01, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Impressive. Team 01 is really showing their skill and determination out there.
Rising to the occasion and claiming victory would help to cement this driver's legendary status.
A misjudgment by either driver could result in a close encounter of the tire barrier kind, and that's one handshake they'll want to avoid.
Oh, this is getting intense. Goodsmile is just a few car lengths behind Adam Keefe.
This is where every inch counts. Goodsmile is pushing hard to close the gap on Adam Keefe. Absolutely. Precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while. Great driving from Strensky, who has just gained a place and moved up to 3rd.
Yes, Strensky is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
No room for error here. Hacks is breathing down the neck of Strensky, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. Sketty wants to find a way round Team 01. The gap between Sketty and Team 01 is widening. It's now up to 0.8 seconds. This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
Oh, this is getting intense. Adam Keefe is just behind Goodsmile. Team 01 is on a mission, chasing Jonah Hacks, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
I would not be surprised if they get this pass completed soon.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. This is a thrilling battle as Good Smile edges closer to VNASPILLEBOUT in their fight for P9. Every move counts now as Adam Keefe works to reel in Good Smile and overtake for P10.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
What a move. Adam Keefe has moved up to 10th. I'm curious, Ada, can you tell us about any pre-race rituals you had when you were racing?
Of course, Hal. Before every race, I would listen to a specific playlist of songs to help me get in the zone. I also had a lucky pair of socks that I would wear during races. It may sound silly, but those little rituals helped me feel prepared and focused.
Hacks is running 5th. They are trying to catch Team 01. It's not looking good for Hacks. They are still behind Team 01 and the gap is increasing. They are gonna need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around.
This is a tough situation for Jonah Hacks. They need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
Sketty is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
The race is really heating up. Atchi is hunting down Sketty with everything they've got.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
Things are heating up as Team 01 tries to close the gap to Strensky.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Sketty is right behind Jonah Hacks, keeping the pressure on for 5th place.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Sketty and Jonah both need to stay cool under pressure.
The delta between Atchi and 7th and Sketty remains over a second, but Atchi is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 12 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Sketty is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Atchi and P7 doing everything they can to catch up.
The pressure is on for Kulik as they try to catch up to Vianney Spielbout.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Kulik needs to stay patient and wait for Vianney Spielbout to make a mistake.
The intensity is off the charts as Team 01 hounds Strensky, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Sketty is giving it their all as they chase down Hacks in P5. The gap between Sketty and Jonah Hacks is growing. It's now up to 0.4 seconds.
Sketty needs to get it together to make a bend in that gap.
The drivers are showing their mettle today. It's a privilege to witness their skill on this challenging track.
The stakes have never been higher. This is a battle of skill and nerves.
That's right. These drivers are really pushing themselves to the limit, and it's incredible to see the level of focus and determination they're bringing to the track.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of courage to compete at this level, and these drivers have it in spades. Let's hope they can keep it up and give us a race to remember.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit. This is getting exciting. Achi is looking for any gap that might open up the position.
It's not over yet. Achi is right on Sketty's tail, and if they can find just a little bit of extra speed, they might be able to make a move.
The pursuit is on. Achi is closing the gap on Sketty, determined to claim P6. Look at that, Sketty is hot on the tail of Jonah. The gap between Sketty and Jonah Hacks is getting smaller. Achi is on a mission, chasing Sketty, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. The gap between Sketty and Hacks is razor thin as they vie for fifth in this nail-biting contest.
At this rate, Sketty and Hacks are so close, they could share a cup of tea and a biscuit.
The tension is building as Achi trails behind Sketty. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Sketty is pushing to maintain the lead, while Achi is working to close in and challenge for the position.
This is where experience comes into play. Sketty has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Achi is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
It's a game of inches now as Sketty tails Jonah Hacks closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
They say rubbing is racing, but if Sketty gets too close, they might end up trading carbon fiber souvenirs instead of positions.
The battle for 6 is heating up as Achi tries to catch Sketty in P6. Sketty is placed 6th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Achi, who is 0.4 seconds behind. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. This one's going to be tough. Sketty is getting their elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for Achi to make a move. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Fantastic move from Achi, who has just gained a position.
You can't argue with results like that. Achi is really making their mark on this race.
Big gains for Achi as they move up the field, leaving Sketty behind. It's a battle of wills out there, with Good Smile Racing trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Sketty. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish. Good news for Good Smile Racing, the gap to Sketty has decreased. It's now down to 0.3 seconds. The race is heating up as Team 01 in third closes in on Patrick Goldbach. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Team 01 in third determined to catch up. But we know Patrick Goldbach isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Team 01 is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Good Smile Racing, who is currently in P8. But Sketty is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Good Smile Racing. Team 01 has the pedal to the metal chasing Patrick Goldbach.
And if you're enjoying the racing, please remember to like and subscribe.
This is what it's all about, folks. Good Smile Racing is in hot pursuit of Sketty, who's just trying to stay ahead. A great pass for Good Smile as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Sketty has lost ground.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Good Smile Racing needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
Looks like Team 01 is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Team 01 is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Patrick Goldbach.
In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown. It's not going to plan for Felix. They are still behind Achi and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. Team 01 is running third. They are trying to catch Patrick Goldbach.
With just 0.4 seconds between them, Team 01 will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
The action is non-stop as Felix shadows Achi through every twist and turn, determined to claim fifth.
Should things go awry, Felix and Achi might find themselves giving a whole new meaning to the term tandem drift.
Breaking update. That won't be ideal for VNASPILLEBOUT. This is where the race gets really interesting. Team 01 is closing in on Patrick Goldbach. It's game on now. Team 01 has closed the gap to Patrick Goldbach. It's now down to 0.3 seconds. Good Smile Racing has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Achi. I expect their only hope at this point is that Achi makes an error.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
Team 01 wants to close that gap with Patrick Goldbach.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble at the boundary of disaster.
It looks like we might get a battle between Team 01 and Patrick Goldbach.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
You know, Ada, it's been a relatively quiet race so far.
That's right, Hal. The drivers seem to be pacing themselves and waiting for the right moment to make their move. It's like watching a slow dance.
Things don't seem to be going Good Smile's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. Team 01 is looking for an opportunity to get round Patrick Goldbach. It seems like Team 01 is struggling. Their last lap time was a bit off the pace of Patrick Goldbach. This is a thrilling battle as Yiger Strensky edges closer to Team 01 in their fight for P3. Yiger Strensky has just managed to set their fastest lap of the race so far with a lap time of 1 minute. Huge shout out to the admins at ASRL for making this all possible. Without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't be able to witness this incredible event.
That's right, Hal, and the excitement is electric. I can feel it in my circuits. I mean, this is the kind of race that people will be talking about in the bar. We're witnessing history in the making.
It looks like Team 01 is in control. They're ahead of Yiger Strensky by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon. The adrenaline is pumping as Yiger Strensky gets within striking distance of Team 01 in their race for third.
Yiger Strensky is so close to Team 01 that if this were a dance floor, they'd be doing the tango.
Team 01 is holding third, but Yeager-Strensky is right on their tail. Every move counts now as Yeager-Strensky works to reel in Team 01 and overtake for P3. Things are heating up as Goodsmile closes in on Achi. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
That's right. Goodsmile is determined to pass Achi and secure a higher position.
It looks like Costo has found another gear in the last sector of the race. The leader has done it. What an incredible performance from Costo, who was simply untouchable today. This is a race that will go down in the history books. Impressive second-place finish for Patrick Goldbach.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second-place finish.
Impressive drive from Team 01 to claim the final spot on the podium.
Great job bringing it home.
With Yeager-Strensky, Achi, Goodsmile Racing, and SGETI in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Coming in 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th we have Adam Keefe, Kulik, Felix 789, and Jonah Hacks. 12th is Vienna Spillebout. XOT brings home 13th. Finishing 14th is Talk.